Mercury Bullet, the second boat away today in the BP High Tide Southern 80. And as we said, 80 grueling kilometres around this twisting, turning Murray River. Interesting yesterday, second in the Baker's Blitz, recording a time of 7:46, only 2 seconds slower than Action. And already we've seen Action with a problem. Smoke billowing out the left-hand bank of the Chevrolet engine. This boat's totally different. On your screen at the moment, it's a double outboard. It's pulling about 600 horsepower at the moment out the back from these two seemingly small motors. The team, very well-oiled machine. Lindsay Beer, the man of the moment behind the wheel. Mercury bought the boat. Looking down quickly to the readout on our BP High Tide radar, we're recording times of 144 kilometres an hour for Lindsay Beer. This boat is amazing. Lindsay Beer settling down in the Mercury Bullet. Barry McDermott, the observer in this boat, and of course, most important position. He's the eyes and ears for the driver. He keeps back, looking across at the skiers, finding out what the situation is. He will give hand signals to the driver, faster, slower, whatever is necessary. Confirmation just coming to us that Action is definitely retired for the day. Bottom end troubles in the boat. We believe it has thrown a conrod right through the side of the block, but it won't be perturbing this man at the moment, and maybe for only the second time in the 26-year history of this race, an outboard just may win the event. The Southern 80 is what we're watching, and it is teamwork that we are certainly being thrilled with at the moment as we watch them go around another bend. The precision between the driver, the observer and the skiers is absolutely unbelievable. 60 metres of rope between the boat and these two heroes, in my view, who are hanging back there at sometimes speeds up to the old 100 mile an hour mark. They're coming down to one of the other tortuous sweeping bends of the Murray, and Mercury Bullet is looking good. Great job today for Lindsay Beer and the crew. The outboard singing along. Here's the final bend from. There's the BP High Tide finish, and it's going to be Mercury Bullet first boat home, and will sit on top of the leaderboard until the next contender comes through, recording a time of 34 minutes and 27 seconds. That's 142.81 kilometre average. It's not the first time an outboard has won this event, the Southern 80, but let me tell you, it's the first time that an outboard has beaten the competition. And the man that has done that and created history in its own right is Lindsay Beer. Lindsay, you must be a happy camper.
Well, very overwhelmed. The boat performed excellently. We had a very good start. But the interesting part was yesterday in the Baker's Blitz, we took off. We polled number 12 in the Baker's Blitz. We come in number 2. We're only 3 seconds out. We didn't have a trim. Today, we've taken off number 2. We had an average start. We got going down the river. Once we started down the river, we got 4 kilometres down the river, and the fatality rate started again at the floating motor car. The floating motor car in boats, basically the truck motors and the floating motor car being Action. He beat us yesterday, but all we seen was a ball of smoke. Very happy with the boat, very happy with Ben Simona's Shep Marine. Extremely happy with BP. We've been running BP oils, the new High Tide oil in the gearboxes and the motors, and we've been running BP fuels. It's improved the performance of the boat. What we're aiming for next year is to take out outright again, but to shatter the record from the inboards and prove that the outboards are here forever.
The situation is with all mechanics of whether it's a race car on the track or whether it's a boat in the water, it's often won and lost in the pits and in the garage prior to the event. Ben Simonis, how tough's it been to get this race machine up to the standard it is now?
It's been very tough. It's been a lot of hours, a lot of time spent working on the boat. But, you know, I love the game. It's just terrific to spend the time on the actual boat, because I know it's got the potential to beat anything that's on the water.
Ben, it's a Mercury-based thing. Is it Mercury all the way through, or is it Ben Simonis' invention?
No, it's not Ben Simonis' invention. It's Mercury. Look, Mercury will look after us. If anything new comes out, they will ring me and say, you know, you've got to do such and such. And to me, that is terrific. Like, they've got the facilities of testing and really working everything to the limit, where we haven't. So, you know, with any of their help, it's really terrific. You know.
Ben, how long has this been in the planning to get this particular boat to the standard that it is now?
Well, this boat, Lindsay bought it about 2 years ago, and we set out, like, it's actually the Raging Bull, which won, or not, didn't win the bridge to bridge, but it ran a close second to the inboards. And from there on, Bullet put it away, and Lindsay bought the boat, and we really developed it and worked hard to get to where we are today.
What's winning this event mean to you today?
Winning this event to me, because I'm a local, like we're local from Shepparton, it's pretty close to Echuca, it's like a local race. And this to me, like winning the Southern 80 is better than winning the bridge to bridge in Sydney.
Barry, observer's job, it's a long way up this course, 80 kilometres. How tough's your job and how many worries do you have? What do you control in the boat?
Well, actually, I tell the driver how fast he's supposed to go to keep the boys safe on the back. Just concentrate on the skiers. Actually, I look at the ski to see how it's vibrating and how they're leaning it and that. And to make sure they look really tidy. If they get a little bit untidy, I just sort of slow the driver down a little bit. I suppose technically I'm the eyes for the driver because he's got no rear vision mirror sort of thing. And I suppose I control the boat on its speed and on its cornering. It's sort of, on a river race, observer's job is fairly easy when you've got two good lads like we've got running today. You just get them out of the hole, make sure they wrap right, nice and clean, and then just sort of make sure they get around the corners, tell a driver how fast he can go or should go, and just leave it at that. Pretty straightforward in the river. In the circuit's a little bit tighter.
Okay, you mentioned that. This course here, this to me looks absolutely awesome. Is it the toughest course that you race on a river?
It is, yeah. It's a very hard river race, very hard. I think there's 123 bends in 80 kilometres, something around that figure. And some of them, you nearly run up the skier's rear end. It's that tight. Sort of swing around and then you go the other way, you know. So you've got to watch the skier doesn't get flicked out on the corner into the trees. You've got to sort of hold the driver back and just generally look after the boys out the back. That's the job.
You've got a lot of responsibility. Is there times when you wish you didn't do it?
There has been times, yeah. Fortunately enough, I've been racing, I think, 10, maybe 12 years, and I've heard a couple, but I've never put any in hospital.
Gavin Arnott and Scott Kell are two of the most important part of the team of Mercury Bullet, who has just taken out the 1991 BP Southern 80 race. Pretty interesting history for both of them. For one, it's his first time down the river here at Echuca. For the other one, he's been to Victory Lane in 7 class wins in the past. But let's talk to our visitor first, all the way from Sydney. Mate, congratulations.
Thanks very much, yeah.
How tough has today been? I mean, we've got sore legs and all sorts of stuff, but is all that now forgotten?
Oh yeah, for sure, you know, the celebrations have, hit home and yeah, we've done really well and I'm real happy.
You come down from Sydney, New South Wales. Obviously, you've been up and down the Hawkesbury once or twice in your life. What's your history in skiing?
Well, I started when I was young. I was the youngest one ever to ski in the bridge to bridge when I was 7 years old. Then I gave up racing for about 6-7 years, and I've only just come back in the last 2 years. Been racing up in Sydney in the last 2 years, and then the bloke rang me up and asked me if I wanted to come down, and I said yeah, for sure. Came down and we've come up trumps, you know, so it's really good.
Gavin, you're an old timer here at the river, and but today must be a special, sweet victory.
Oh, that's right. It's the best win ever. Like to win it outright, it's just been a dream. Like when I first started skiing, you sort of look at these top skiers and you dream about winning a race like this. And it's taken 12 years, and I'm wrapped. You know, I couldn't ask for anything better. The boat would perform excellently. It turns unbelievable. Like you've got to have a boat that turns as well, and to go to the right sort of crew too. So everything held well mechanically, and it's just we were the best boat in the day. And can't ask for anything better.
Scott, I'll ask you first, any times when you had any trouble moments?
There was a couple of times when sort of come out of the wash, you know, we were really accelerating out of the corners and we sort of just dropped out of the wash. You know, it was sort of under control, you know, came back into the wash and, you know, everything was right sort of thing, you know. So, yeah, it was good, you know. The observer looked after us really well, and driver drove, you know, beautifully around the corners, you know, magic. And, you know, it was just a really good race, right the way through.
Gavin?
Well, I had a few close calls actually. It was the first time I skied on the right-hand side, everyone in this race, because Scott was used to the left-hand side. So it was the first time I've been in a move on the right-hand side, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. But a few times there was a spray from the boat, so I couldn't really see what was coming up because I was skiing outside the wash. And I was coming along, and the boat was straightened up. I could see where I was going, and I was to look up, and there was a few trees, and I had to get out of the way of those. And one time there, I saw a large stump, and I basically moved out of the way, but there was trigs coming out from the other side of it, so I had to sort of go in between where the tree was in the water. So that was a bit of a close call, but lucky enough I didn't hit anything and went straight through it. So there's a few close calls there, but got